Hello, welcome to Mama Magik, the podcast where we explore spiritual self-healing, magical living, and manifesting the most magical version of your life. I'm Emma, your host, and welcome back. I want to take a second to extend my gratitude to you for showing up, not only for me and supporting my content and my dream, but for you, showing up for yourself, investing in yourself by absorbing content like this, by making the conscious decision to live better every moment, every day, however that may look for you. Welcome to my beautiful, magical community. I am so happy to have you. My heart leaped out of my chest when I checked how many subscribers were added to my arsenal this week, and I'm just sending so much gratitude out to the universe, to myself for showing up and for continuing on, knowing what an outlet this has been for me and what it will be for me. And I just am sitting in so much gratitude as I record this episode today. So I'm sending you those good vibes right back out to you. Hello, happy November 20th. How's everyone been doing? Reach out to me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. I love to hear where you're at in your journey. I will link my Instagram in the description of this pod, and please reach out. I love to hear from you. I love to see who my content is attracting to me, and I love conversations about just navigating life with this awareness of magic that the world is tapping into, and it makes me feel so excited. I'm surrounded by growth, I'm surrounded by expansion, and I love all of the reflections of that the universe keeps showing to me, and that involves you sending me DMs. I love to hear from you, so please don't be shy. Today's episode is a powerful one. Living with purpose, escape a meaningless life. I'm also going to link in my description one of my favorite writers, Dan Coe. He just released a video that actually used the original title I had for this podcast. I love the way that he reflected back to me exactly what I had been experiencing over the last few weeks. So I'm going to link that resource in the description as well. And I highly recommend taking a look into his content if you haven't already. I found that my energy has been attracting entrepreneurs and other like-minded individuals who want to make their first million, who know that they will make their first million, if not their first billion. And I love the crowd and the company that I've been keeping. Dan Coe has been with me for a lot of that journey, and I think that you will appreciate his content as well. If you've ever felt stuck, directionless, or like you're simply going through the motions, you're not alone. I've been there. The world's been there. I know as of lately, especially with the holidays approaching, I have sensed such a heaviness out in the world. There's been so much dark things that have been happening with the politics in the USA, with the wars, with the mental health crisis. There is so many things that if we focus our intention on, we could feel really heavy real quickly. I've been using this time to see the world as for what it is, and to understand that I'm not the only one who's had a struggle. I'm not the only one who is going through some murkiness. We're surrounded by it every single day. But life is full of contrast. It is full of quote unquote good and bad. So what keeps me grounded as a single mom of 3 who is unemployed, zero income, relying on the government for assistance, living off of handouts, the list goes on. What has kept me grounded through those moments, what continues to keep me grounded even when I expose myself to the hustle and bustle of all of the energies that are circling through our beautiful world, is living intentionally. And living intentionally has given me purpose, and it has given me meaning, and it has given me a safe harbor within myself that keeps me feeling safe and grounded even when reality might not be that way. And when you're coming into your spiritual journey, let me know if you know. I've heard it called the dark night of soul, a spiritual awakening. Like when you are coming into this, things start to shed away from your old existence, from your old life. Things crumble. And if things aren't completely crumbled in your life when you've chosen your spiritual practice, baby, I don't think you're going deep enough. Because when you make the decision to be a conscious individual in this planet that we live on, things are going to shift for you. And before they shift, more often than not, I don't know anyone who has not experienced this shift. Initially being a dramatic, like, uh-oh moment, things crumble, things change. And I know for my life, I called it a blank canvas because things that you held on to for so long or that you resonated so strongly with prior, you don't associate with that anymore. You go through this period of life not even knowing who you are, not even knowing what you are. It can be very, very, very debilitating. It can leave you feeling very unstable. What grounded me through that time was intentional living. And what continues to ground me through that time is intentional living. And when you live with intent, everything becomes purposeful. Everything. Things that were mundane. And like I said, being a single mom, my life was on autopilot. Let me know if you know. Like, life can just go on autopilot. And before you know it, it's Friday. You're completely exhausted from the week that you just had. You have no energy to even think about having any kind of fun on the weekend. You just find yourself dredging Monday. This is a common narrative. And what got me out of that loop was intentional living, living with intent, living with purpose. I just want you to know that I'm not making light of life's turmoils whatsoever. In fact, I want to do the opposite and give them the sacred space that turbulence should have. When life is throwing its curve at us, it is yelling at us to take a breather, to take an assessment of what is going on internally. I'm a believer that what you are within is what your outside world is going to reflect back to you. And what you put your energy on today is going to reflect the tomorrow that you have. When you change your perspective, you change your life. And living with intent gets you out of that meaningless cycle that is so draining, that leaves you feeling unfulfilled, if not depressed. And I've learned that we have the power to shift out of this state by changing our mindset, embracing life, by embracing our intent behind the motions that we do with life. And this changed the game for me. So I'm so happy to be able to show up here and share this with you. And I'm looking forward to hearing your wisdom and feedback as you apply these principles to your life. Living with purpose doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out. It's about moving through your life with intention, gratitude, and trust in the process. When you live this way, you'll reconnect with your soul's deeper purpose, and your life will begin to feel magical. I'm so excited and blessed, feeling very blessed to guide you through this today. We're going to explore the power of perspective, the magic of gratitude, and how to turn your everyday life into a beautiful ritual, honoring your higher self. Let's get into it. Let's start with what it feels like to live without purpose, shall we? We won't stay here too long because I think that's one of the main reasons why we're all here today, is because we've hit rock bottom. We've felt it before. I don't know too many people who turn to a spiritual practice when they haven't hit rock bottom. Usually your life throws at you a very, very big wake-up call, so to speak, for you to almost be forced to go within. At least I know my life did. I remember waking up every day, nothing feeling exciting or meaningful, just feeling like I'm on autopilot, going through the motions of work, family, life responsibilities, always feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. I remember even asking myself, what's the point? Why am I even here? What's the biggest purpose? For a long time, I thought I had to follow a script that society hands to us. Chase success, meet expectations, get validation from outside of yourself. Hustle, hustle, grind, grind. But the more I tried to live that way, the more disconnected I felt from my true self. Let me know if this is landing. Here's the truth. This feeling of emptiness often comes from living without intention. When we're not connected to our higher self or our inner desires, we end up living for others. Or worse, living without even realizing we're in survival mode until your life is over. I know this sounds bleak, but this is the reality of a lot of lives. I have good news though. The good news is that the moment you decide to live with purpose, everything starts to change. And my podcast episodes are infused with magic. I ground myself. I show up intentionally to be of service, to be a channel, to be a portal of what you need to hear. This podcast episode is the catapult. It's the activation. My soul sees your soul. These podcast episodes infused with magic that will supercharge your soul's energy and exactly what it needs to hear to get you onto this vibe. Once you start to live with that purpose, that intent, once you make the conscious decision of saying, yes, I choose this, I choose myself every moment of every day, life starts to change. And it doesn't require a complete life overhaul either. It starts with small shifts each and every day. Tiny, small shifts to your mindset over and over and over. It's a new way of living. And I'm going to get more into this in detail. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed about the constant mental check-ins and the constant reframing, because it really does become a lifestyle. It really does become habitual and enjoyable. And once you have gotten into a practice that grounds you into yourself, that you fully enjoy, you will see that you do it without even thinking. And there you go. You've shifted your subconscious. If this sounds excruciating, if this sounds a little over the top for you right now, totally cool. There's so many resources to get you to the page that you need to be on to have that belief in yourself that you can do this. That is half the battle, just that self-belief that you can do this. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to change anything that you want. I've seen the power of my mind change physical appearances, change health issues in people, change the narrative of my family. You have the power. That is half the battle, just understanding that truth. If you really struggle with that, I suggest that you select someone to mentor you through this. I do offer mentorship. I also have an arsenal of other mentors that I've worked with that I love, and they may be better aligned. Do what feels good for your soul. There's no right or wrong with this, except for what makes you feel good and makes you feel connected to something that lights you up. It's that simple. Now, let's get into how to shift into a life filled with purpose. This all sounds great. How do we do it? The first step is changing your perspective. Your life is a mirror reflecting how you see the world. If you see obstacles, challenges, and lack, you'll experience those things. If you shift your perspective to see opportunities, lessons, and abundance, you'll begin to feel a new sense of purpose. And this is so important to do first thing when you wake up, last thing you do before you go to bed. Think of those as your reset time. That's when your subconscious is the most vulnerable, the most thirsty for truth. So send it these kind of thoughts. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking yourself, what is this teaching me? This one shift can completely change how you approach your challenges. And gratitude. I cannot emphasize how powerful this is. Gratitude pulls you into the present moment and aligns you with abundance. When you focus on what you have, you open yourself up to receiving more. Here's a simple practice that you can put into effect right now. You don't have to write these down, although the power of the script is so powerful, especially with intentional living. But if you're not a writer yet, that's cool. Say these things mentally to yourself. Every single day, do not skip out on this. Meditate on gratitude. All this means is think of or write down at least three things that you're thankful for and why they matter. So instead of just saying, I'm thankful for my home, say something like, I'm grateful for my home because it gives me a safe place to rest, gives me a safe place to dream. I feel secure in my home. I feel taken care of in my home. This deepens the connection to your gratitude. The third piece to this magical puzzle is intention. Living with intention means infusing your actions, thoughts, and energy with purpose. It's not about big dramatic changes. I've mentioned that it's just about small changes that you do every single day. This brings energy to your day. All you need is a little bit of good energy to make a big ripple effect in your life. Let's say you're making your morning coffee. Instead of rushing through it, take a moment to set an intention for your day. You could say, today, I move with clarity and confidence. I am a goddess. I am a king. That small intention sends ripples through your actions. Speak in to your morning drink. I have a morning elixir of warm water, lemon, ginger, whatever I'm feeling. Speak into that morning elixir affirmations that you desire to be amplified in your life. The power of the frequency of those words spoken into the beautiful element that is water as it nourishes your body and DNA. Those words that you have spoken over yourself nourish your physical body, your spiritual body, your mental body. Trust me on this. I speak into my water every morning. I speak power into myself. Magic. Magic. There's some witchy wisdom you can include in your day when you have your coffee or tea. Speak into that drink. Sip slowly on that drink, visualizing everything you've spoken to over your life for that day. And I'm telling you, your day is magical. It's going to be so magical. Even more powerful if you use moonwalk. Let's go a little deeper into this idea that your soul already knows its purpose. Now you're probably like, wait, I don't know what I want to do. And for me, this was my narrative. I was stuck in abusive cycles my entire life up until the last few years. Attracting abuse, attracting narcissists, attracting just horrific events into my realm. So if someone had told me this a few years back, I would have laughed. I would have been like, oh, really? Because it doesn't look like it, because it looks like what I'm choosing, blah, blah, blah. But was I listening to myself at the time? Did I even know how to connect to my soul at the time? No. Our soul is constantly within us, is constantly shining, but there are obviously things in our life that dim that shine or amplify that shine. So your soul is always guiding you, even when you can't feel it. The key is to reconnect with that guidance by trusting your intuition and moving with faith. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't. I want to really make that clear. You don't need to have all the answers. Life is about connecting to your soul and listening to your soul and following what feels good for your soul. Content like this makes that clearer. It helps you connect and establish a relationship with your most intimate part of yourself. Meditation, affirmations, intentional living, all of these things evoke that magic that is your being, that has been with you since the beginning of time. It has all of the answers. When you tap into that magic, you don't live clueless anymore. Imagine moving with certainty, moving with spiritual precision that only comes from a meditated download. Life drastically changes when you start to listen to your soul and follow your soul's purpose, and it's not complicated. You just need to take one intentional step at a time. One way to strengthen this connection is by turning your life into a ritual. Think of your daily routines as sacred acts that honor your higher self. For example, journaling can become a space to channel your soul's desires. Walking can be a moving meditation. Even something as simple as doing the dishes can be a ritual if you approach it mindfully and with gratitude. When you treat life this way, every moment becomes meaningful and your purpose starts to reveal itself. It's not something you have to find. It's something you create by living with intention, moving with purpose. Being a single mom, my life has the ingredients of unpredictability, chaos, struggle, fear, what if, sadness, loneliness, the list goes on and on and on. I have been able to reconstruct the narrative for myself by simply shifting my thinking with things. And I'm going to share this with you. I appreciate my pause so much because to me, it just feels like an intimate voice note that I'm sending to one of my besties. And I love that I have this space I can get really intimate and really detailed oriented with you about what's going on in my life and share as I'm learning. It means a lot for me to have this safe space to do so. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. My mental health has been an issue for me since a child. Since choosing my witchy practices and this enlightened lifestyle, I have seen my mental health shatter. And I know that's not too encouraging to hear, but I have seen it shatter. But it didn't stay shattered. I had the capability to pick apart the pieces and navigate myself through those sharp pieces without getting cut, and to put them back together into this beautiful, sacred temple that I now call my mind, body, and soul. And the content that I share is real stuff that has worked in my life when I was in rock bottom, when I had nothing to build upon except for myself and except for my belief in myself. And these truths that I'm sharing are what have evoked beautiful, massive change in my life that has helped me feel supported, feel encouraged, feel beautiful, feel radiant in life's darkest moments. I had an addiction to cannabis use, and I want to touch on this briefly in this conversation because there's so much interest in intentional smoking and using herb as the medicine from Mother Earth that it was intended to be. The thing around the energy of cannabis is that it was used to infuse our enlightenment and to connect us to the natural occurrence and rhythm and vibration of Mother Earth. Now, like all things offered to us, we have the opportunity to abuse or to use it correctly. And what healed my relationship with marijuana was showing up to my smoke sessions intentionally and to check in with myself each time that I went to light up, to ask myself, what is the reason for this? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling irritable? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling lost? Am I feeling loved? Am I feeling depressed? Am I feeling bored? Why am I showing up right now with this? And when I started pinpointing my habits, cannabis was one of the main ones that was easy enough to pinpoint. When I started pinpointing my habits and asking myself why and checking in on my radar of how much enjoyment I was really getting out of it, I realized it was more of a depressant than anything. I went through sobriety just to like reshift my focus, and then I started showing up to cannabis with the intent. I started paying more attention to the strains that I was selecting and the names of them and how they were grown, what intentions were put into the herb as it was grown. I started using my smoke sessions in my magical ceremonies. So if I was approaching a deity who embodied fire and embodied smoke, then that's when I would smoke with them. If I was giving an offering to my ancestors who I know love tobacco, love cannabis, then I would have a smoke session with them. And this left me feeling fulfilled rather than shameful. And it left me feeling like this wasn't so much a habit and it wasn't a crutch anymore, but rather I had taken that narrative and switched it into something that propelled me forward and uplifted me and gave me power. And now I'm not saying to have excuses for horrible habits. I was a very high functioning stoner, quote unquote, so to speak. So I'm not saying to make excuses for your alcohol problem or your cannabis problem. You know if it's a problem. I'm not your mommy. I don't have to tell you what is and isn't a problem in your life. The people I attract to my content know. They know what's good and what isn't good for them. I knew that cannabis was not a reflection of my higher self at the time and that I had to reiterate my narrative around that. And this is what worked for me, showing up intentionally. If you find that you smoke, I know a lot of beautiful people do, and I know a lot of people who swear by it for their success. I know a lot of people who hate it and think that it has nothing to do with their success. Everybody's different. One narrative isn't going to work for everybody, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about conscious awareness and thinking is that you know that. You know that just because something worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody, and just because someone does something that feels wrong for you doesn't mean it's wrong for them. Just show up with love. Show up with love, not only for others, but for yourself. If there's something in your life, probably popped into your head as we were speaking about this, you know exactly what it is. You may not be showing up with the most love for yourself around that. Now you're aware. That awareness is all that you need to make the small shift to evoke some kind of change around that dynamic in your life now that will be the ripple effect to evoke more change throughout your life. If you're interested in being guided through an intentional smoke session, I would love to get a group together to do that virtually, just so you can feel the experience of showing up with intentional smoke and seeing the magic that it can evoke in your life. Cannabis is Mother Herb. It is a sacred herb that should be used as such. And when used properly, game changing. Game changing. We are gifted with all of these things to make impactful moves in our lives. And the awareness is the ingredient to all of it. Once you are aware, anything is possible. The sky's the limit. There's no room for addiction here because it's all love, baby. and we can alchemize anything. So reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM if you want more information about coming at your habit with cannabis in a little bit more of a healthy light, and I would love to work with you. Okay, so to wrap up, let's recap the key ideas that we dived into. Living without purpose often stems from a lack of intention and connection to your higher self. Once you connect to that source through meditation, through nature, through connecting with high vibe individuals, you shift your perspective. Shifting your perspective, like by doing things with practicing gratitude, moving with intention, you can transform your life into one filled with purpose and meaning. And remember, your soul already knows its purpose. You just need to trust it. Take one intentional step at a time and treat your life like a sacred ritual. As a witch, I perform rituals, I perform magic. I had this epiphany maybe about 2 years back about living my life as a ritual. My home is the altar. My temple, my body is the embodiment of all the earth elements. It's the main ingredient to my magic, and my life is the ritual, is the conduction of magic. Evoking my so desired intention into my reality by every second, every breath, every moment that I choose to live intentionally and with purpose creates this magical energetic shift in my life that allows things to fall seamlessly into my realm without me even trying, because I'm already doing the inner work. So within, so without. What you are on the within is what you're going to attract. If this episode resonates with you, I encourage you to reflect on one area of your life where you can bring more intention. Maybe it's your morning routine, your relationships, or even the way you approach your morning practice or your goals. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I lived it as a ritual to my higher self? What changes could I invoke now that would make my tomorrow more enjoyable? Today is the perfect time to do some self-reflection. You know me, a little galaxy girly. I'm always in tune with the cosmos and what's going on. Yesterday, the 19th of November, was a super, super powerful shift that was evoked in many zodiac signs. You're going to see changes. We are stepping out of a 15, I believe it was, year cycle of struggle, of murky energy, of complications. And now we are in this new paradigm, this new light energy. All we have to do is accept it, let the light shine on the dark shadows that we may not be completely happy with yet, and understand that we have the power to take that energy back, call that energy back to yourself, alchemize it, throw it back out into your reality, living a beautiful life of magic, one breath at a time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found value in this episode, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it, or connect with me on my Instagram or X. I'll leave the links in the description. I love that you made it this far in the podcast. If this kind of content obviously interests you, I encourage you to check out my website for more connection opportunities. I have lots of magical offerings there that you will find interesting and enjoyable. I'll leave the link in my description of this podcast. Your life's meant to feel magical and meaningful. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create. Keep moving with intention, knowing that you are in charge of your life. You have the power to create your most magical life by embracing your most magical essence. You're on the right path. I appreciate your energy so much connecting with mine. Now go out, live your life, achieve greatness, be all that you desire to be, knowing that the intention causes a reaction, causes the momentum for what you desire to be yours. You are the alchemist of your life. You're in control of your life. I'm sending you so many blessings. I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. Keep your eyes out on my content. I have so many exciting things that I'm launching with these last few weeks of 2024. Now is the time for greatness. The time is now. The time is yours. Call back your power. Universal love.